Good news for all of you getting VA, SSI, SSI, and Social Security benefits. This Friday, $2,200 will be paid into your bank accounts. In this video, we'll go over all the details so you may be ready and educated. We'll also clarify who is eligible for this $2,200 deposit, what requirements must now be fulfilled, how to check your eligibility, learn how to see if you qualify for this deposit, how to confirm your eligibility, and what to do if you don't see the money in your account. Sometimes things don't work out as planned. Proceed according to schedule. If on Friday the deposit is not reflected in your bank account, we will advise you on what to do. Important times and dates. Find out about significant dates associated with this deposit and what to expect in the days ahead. Often posed queries, FAQs. To assist clear up any uncertainty, we'll address some of the most frequently asked questions regarding this deposit. Millions of Americans who depend on essential federal benefits are finally going to get a big financial lifeline this Friday, when direct transfers of $2,200 will begin, after months of waiting and exasperating delays. Reaching out to Social Security beneficiaries, Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, Veterans Benefits, VA, and Supplemental Security Income, SSI. Given that so many people were finding it difficult to make ends meet, these emergency payments were approved as a portion of the $1.90 trillion emergency relief package that Congress passed back in March. Tens of millions of Americans are expected to receive these payments over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic as a vital safety net against destitution and hopelessness for some of the most vulnerable members of society. For basic necessities like food, housing, and medical care amid the economic fallout. In the upcoming weeks, this will include nearly 5 million veterans receiving VA benefits, over 64 million Social Security beneficiaries, 8 million SSI recipients, and 9 million SSDI beneficiaries. The majority will automatically receive the entire $2,200 payout. However, there are several guidelines about eligibility regarding Social Security SSDI income thresholds, and SSI recipients who earned $75,000 or less in 2022, or who filed jointly with an income under $150,000, are eligible for the entire amount. The $2,200 payment starts to phase off after those upper income levels by $100 for each $1,000 in increased adjusted gross income. According to the most recent updates from federal agencies, Virginia beneficiaries who received disability compensation, a pension, or were enrolled in specific low-income programs in 2022 are eligible for the entire payment regardless of their income level. The initial wave of deposits is anticipated to reach an estimated 30 million people. Social Security and SSI beneficiaries this Friday, May 31st, with millions more payments expected to arrive over the course of the first 2 weeks of June. The disbursements of SSDI and VA payments are anticipated to begin somewhat later and continue well into the second half of the month, as the majority of the funds will arrive via those without a direct deposit setup will receive a paper check in the mail, which may take a few more weeks. The identical direct deposit information is already on file with the federal agencies. In April, as per the original emergency relief measure, these payments were supposed to be disbursed, allowing for quicker relief during the public health emergency. But in the end, significant organizational and logistical challenges between the different federal departments were what delayed getting the money out the door. The Department of Veteran Affairs, the IRS, and Social Security all encountered enormous difficulties in updating payment files, confirming eligibility, and calculating modified amounts for increasing the number of homes and establishing the channel of distribution for more than 86 million individual payments. Specifically, Virginia authorities highlighted serious shortcomings in their outdated IT systems that required urgent updates and changes. The Biden administration made a lot of effort to shorten the schedule and even sent military computer personnel to the civilian agencies for assistance, but ultimately, the operational lift proved too great to reverse in a matter of weeks, while guaranteeing precise and comprehensive payments to tens of millions of Americans in need, even though I am aware that nothing can replace a family that is unable to pay their rent. The people of America may rest comfortable that these $2,200 payments will end up in the hands of individuals who are hungry or struggling to make ends meet. According to President Biden, it is our first priority to do things correctly the first time around and prevent any widespread mistakes or inappropriate money transfers. Naturally, the postponed deadline sparked a heated political debate in which Republicans attacked the Biden administration for their blatant incapacity to provide vital aid during the pandemic more quickly. Democrats retorted that such a large-scale project involving over 86 million beneficiaries across several organizations was You will unavoidably encounter difficult obstacles, both operational and technical, that required time to overcome, led to calls for upgrades to the severely antiquated payment infrastructure and IT systems at agencies such as the IRS, Social Security Administration, and VA. The partisan back and forth also posed a threat to public confidence. $2,200 is not a life-altering amount for many Americans, but for the tens of millions of low-income seniors, disabled people, and veterans, experts argued that modernizing this crucial crisis response capability should be a priority, with future rounds of direct payments likely needed to provide financial relief during economic shocks. Awaiting these payments, the cash is a vital lifeline following months of declining savings and skyrocketing living expenses. In Akron, Ohio, Mary Jennings, 74, who supports herself and her disabled son with Social Security and disability benefits of about $1,600 each month, described how a small amount extra will go a long way toward helping me and a great number of others stay afloat and stop living off credit cards. It will enable them to pay off outstanding bills, afford many months' worth of medications, and replenish their empty pantry after rationing meals of cheap grains and beans. For basics, stated Jennings that the $2,200 payments are expected to help raise around, and that millions of comparable households maxing out credit cards and living off tiny nest eggs saw this money as a make-or-break factor in avoiding severe financial difficulty in the months ahead. 3.3 million Americans, nearly 1 million children, are no longer living in poverty. According to studies, direct transfers to low-income households have a disproportionately large impact because the beneficiaries spend the money right away on goods and services and debt repayment, giving the economy an instant boost for every dollar that is sent out. When these payments go through local companies and communities, you should expect to see a return on investment of roughly $1.50 in economic activity. According to Overall, the payments are anticipated to boost consumer spending by around $49 billion in the second quarter, according to Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics. Provide a 0.3 percentage point boost to GDP growth during that time, while provisions like the expanded child tax credit in the initial $1.9 trillion relief bill attracted more attention for their ability to reduce poverty. This emergency doll $2,200 payment is also crucial for the financial security of millions of people who are living paycheck to paycheck benefit from the money as the pandemic's economic effects persist. However, the one-time payments are only a stopgap measure. Proponents of the GAP anti-poverty initiative contend that longer-term solutions are still required to increase seniors' financial security. The community of disabled people and low-income veterans through benefits increases and programming modifications, while representatives of the administration claim that the contributions offer financially needy households a significant and short-term source of help. Its detractors contend that it is an ineffective blunt tool that ignores more significant structural economic problems, strewing cash around carelessly. According to Brian Rarl, a budget analyst at the conservative Manhattan Institute think tank, addressing the problem without broader reforms is like bailing out a sinking ship with a bucket instead of fixing the hole in the hull. These one-time payments provide the impression of helping when, in fact, they're merely pushing the issue farther down the road at exorbitant expense to taxpayers, as others have noted. Each round of these stimulus-style deposits significantly increases the federal deficit, at a time when worries about the country's $31 trillion debt load, the $1.9. The government will have to pay about $350 billion in interest alone for the trillion relief bill that funded this most recent $2,200 payment, according to critics. From the standpoint of fiscal responsibility, they contend it would be wiser to instead pursue longer-term reforms aimed at boosting self-sufficiency and economic mobility for struggling. And that might involve actions like raising the tax credit cap for low-income people, dereglementing some industries to encourage job creation and pay rises, or reforming assistance programs to make them more efficient.